Hello, this is Patrick. Wow, what a night last night. I saw the election in Alabama and they called it, and I go, I'm going to bed. And it was pretty early. I was going to put a video up beforehand, but I kept getting different readings on it. It's very tumultuous. And yesterday morning, I did a reading on it. And the two things is one, Moore won, yet they stole the election by 4.5%. I just dowsed it. It was the fraud was 4.5%. I got it. It was going up and down quite a bit during the process, and he was probably going to win it. The probabilities, but as the election got closer, it didn't want to tell me anything. It kind of went and shut down. So, you know, it was going to happen, and it didn't. My higher self did not want me to really talk about it, even though I kept getting indications that Moore should win. But I think the Democrats was a no holds bar. They didn't care. I think if they investigate it, they'll find where the fraud is. I don't know if it's worth it in the scheme of things. What's going to happen now? I did pull some cards a few days ago for, and I got decent cards for the country and Trump this week. So as this week progresses, he's going to have. See, I got the Ace of Wands. Here's the Emperor. That's him. That's Trump. And then the Ace of Wands, and then of course, the Ten of Discs, which is good for the country, good for him. He might get the tax bill might go through. Maybe that's what the Ten of Discs is. I'm gonna do a few more. Now this is the day after, and I'm going to douse the reading I did in August for the last quarter. You remember that one? And in particular, the outcome, which was the tower, which was a tower, okay, or which would be the thunder in the I Ching. Everybody has it. It's divine intervention sort of thing. So I did douse it, and we haven't experienced everything yet. And watch this. So, and also you remember we had the eclipse. So I like going back and reviewing what I did, all right, and what I said, and then you can kind of fine tune it a little bit where we're going, and you know the cards are always accurate. The I Ching is always accurate. The dowsing is always accurate. It's our ability to interpret correctly what we're seeing, the nuances. And a lot of this, especially in astrology, the nuances are so subtle. You know, it's very subtle. And sometimes we don't recognize it, and you come back. So it's not a question of right and wrong. It's a question of kind of going back and reviewing and seeing the nuances. The thunder in the I Ching and the tower in the tarot, that's not a nuance. You should be able to see that demarcation pretty clearly. But anyway, okay, of that tower card, I'm dowsing now. What percent has occurred, manifested at this point? What percent of the tower? And the answer is I'm getting about 45%. What percent was the Alabama election in the tower? It's nothing. It's insignificant. What percent of the Las Vegas of those people getting killed? That was significant. That was like 40%. Okay, so we are due 55% more of the tower to manifest. So we don't have it all yet, and I don't see, now I did the dows this morning, this Alabama election and how it's going to affect Trump, and initially it'll be a ding for a little bit, maybe a week or so, and then he bounces back. He bounces back. All right, strongly in 2 weeks. All right. So this is just part of the roller coaster of the battle, the cultural battle, and the battle in heaven. All right, and we always forget that there is a battle in heaven going on, and that battle will be over before the battle here on the ground in the physical 3D. And we are all, in some ways, we are soldiers of the heavenly battle, because even though we're not consciously really aware of it, we see, when you start seeing and becoming aware, when people are aware, that adds to the weight and the energy of good, essentially. You know, it's simple, as simple as that. And the more people that are aware on how they're being controlled, the more we're going to start manifesting a better society, a better culture. And right now, it's a life and death sort of battle. It's biblical, of good and evil, and this is magnified in these next, I would say, 12 to 24 months. You know, it's going to get more intense. You saw this election in Alabama, and it should have been a Republican win. He actually won it, even though he's a flawed candidate. And it's interesting that this whole thing was designed, you know, for Moore to win and then defeat him. And so we're looking at these elections kind of wrong. So we're going to have a lot of issues in these primaries, all right? These primaries are really going to be like that. They're going to try to put the weakest Republicans forward, flawed, with things in their background. They got pictures of them with, you know, doing something really bad. And those will be the winners. So that's going to be difficult. It's going to be a difficult thing. But in 2018, the people for the people candidates will win, even within the Republican Party. The Republicans can pick up more than 4 Senate seats and 4 House seats, and they probably will. It's like, well, how many are they going to pick up that are really onto, you know, stimulating the economy, giving people back to the workers, you know, things like that. And instead of having this really nihilist Bolshevik state where they are they edit your language, your ability to breathe, your ability to speak, your ability to express yourself through the arts, instead of giving us, you know, what is it? Social justice warriors. I saw one yesterday, and it was so funny, but it was really, really sad and scary. Somebody taped an exam, you know, this week at University of California, Berkeley, and I don't know what the class was in, and somebody taped it on his cell phone, and 3 or 4 social justice warriors were complaining that the exam was, and it just went down to the list: racist, bigoted, white privilege, anything privilege, you know, smart people privilege, I don't know what. And they had accents. I'm not making this up. They had, I bet you they had a scholarship for the Dreamers. I'm not making this up. And they had accents, which means, you know, if you're a child and you come here when you're 8, you probably don't have an accent, you know. If you come here at 12, you might have an accent, you know, and then you're in college, that sort of thing. So that makes me think they weren't here that long, but they're getting freebies, and they were complaining that they want to take the test home. And they wanted the exam at home, and by taking it in the classroom, you're a bigot. And then and then the professor didn't know what to do. He was just going, well, this is Berkeley. We have a standard. You can't. And they wouldn't let him off the hook. And then they proceeded to attack the students taking the test and calling them all privileged and stuff and whatever. And he said, well, I'll talk to you in the hallway, and we're taking the test here, and that's it. So you have to commend the professor, and I think they're getting more backbone in these universities, because just like the NFL, it's an existential issue. They can see that these institutions are sliding in popularity, and the people that are paying the bills, the parents, are thinking twice about the fees. Are my kids getting a job? Maybe, maybe not. And a thought in this direction, I don't know if any of you seen it. It was a few weeks ago. I was watching NFL, and the thing was, they had a Domino's commercial, and they went through and we're redesigning our Domino's, and it shows the people who own the franchises, you know. And then they came to this young gal, and she says, "And I took my college savings and bought a Domino's franchise." And she was all happy. She's doing it. And that was really interesting, because it's putting a meme out there. Why go to college? Go out and buy a business with that money, because it's a waste of money. It's going to mess you up unless they significantly change free thinking. You know, you really need intuitive thinking, which are the high arts, not what they teach in the university. Universities don't teach the high arts anymore, but the high arts, critical thinking, which is Plato and Socrates, and Aristotle needs some work. But, you know, we're supposed to think for ourselves. And the thinking in universities now is they're getting them a punch list of words and vocabulary to use to suffocate their expression. And they weaponize the students to put down the other students. So this is going to continue. But it's right now there's blowback going on. And we predicted this. And it's going to be fairly quick, the blowback. Okay? And you're going to see major upheavals. I already see my local university, in 3 years, the enrollment is down 25%. That's all over the country, depending on the universities, are experiencing that, and they're freaking out. They don't know what they do. Well, I know what to do. You get rid of the diversity program. You get rigor in there. And I think also we have to go back and look at the classics, the classical university. And it wasn't perfect. And then we have to instill self-discipline and really introduce a lot of the intuitive arts, which they won't do. But they really need that. You need a classical with the intuitive arts. And if you go back to Socrates, that's what he was. He was a man he had visions. You know what I mean? He didn't need religion. He had his visions naturally. And he put that together with the discipline of mathematics and things like that. And that's why his philosophy is still here 2,000 years. But now we are having avatars arrive who are going to give us this next wave. And it's things we can't even see. It's really, really exciting. And that's what I'm trying to say. Don't worry about this Alabama race. It's really not important. Trump's going to bounce back. They're going to put a plan together. He's going to get beat up a little bit by Megyn Kelly, saying, you know, he's a womanizer and stuff. And I saw one of the women, I'm not making this up, asking for a telephone number is sexual harassment. So we're cooked as a culture. We're going to have to change, and we will. It's just like it is happening. But we're not necessarily going back to 1950s. We're gonna go back to things. Even they are going to be surprised, because we're going to go down to a road where an explosion of new ideas, new technology, and a spiritual explosion simultaneously. And I'm not talking religion. I'm talking everybody is going to start to be seeing things on the other side of the veil, and you become self-actualized spiritually. That is a critical point. That's how we're going to be different. Those who refuse to change, those who want to be social justice, nonsense, or nihilist, or communist, or Bolshevik, and I could go on and on. These they take your soul and they crush it down into a little pea, and they have such low self-worth that they have to go beat up on other people. So don't worry, the momentum is now going down. The archons are losing. And we just discussed that, and we're going to go forward. And over the next year, they're going to go from 81% right now to influencing this country down below 50% within about 11 months. All right? And then after that, it keeps going down. Boom, 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 and they disappear in 24 months. So we're going to see that. And this rigging of this election is just the last gasp of the archons trying to hold on to their power. All right? I hope that helps. And have a good time. Keep upbeat. Everything's going well. This is going better than expected. And this is Roy Moore was probably a flawed person, but that's just typical for a politician anyway in today's world. And you're going to see more of that kind of information. All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.